Greetings. My name is Erika Murcia, and I am the author of 𝐃𝐎𝐿𝐴, our poetic rematriation with Mother Earth, published by Samsara Editorial in 2024 in Mexico. And today I am acompañada by Mary, my dear friend Mary. And this space is to reflect back on how we decided to collaborate creatively in this project. And but before we get into that, Mary, how are you today?
I'm well today. So my name is Mary Demery. I serve as Eddie's agent for this project and possibly future projects too.
Thank you. I love that scene. Um, yes, you are my agent, and it's kind of weird to say it out loud, Mary. I still,
Yep.
every time I say it out loud, it gets my whole skin gets shivers. It's like eh, I can't believe I'm saying this, and in the most humble, in the most let me move my offering, my fire offering, because the smoke is coming. Um, in the most authentic and genuine creative way.
Mhm.
So yeah, what's the story that you wanna share that of how this collaboration emerged?
Yeah, I would love to share the story of how we met way back in 2020, and now here we are 5 years later. So I first met Eddie in February 2020. It was a snowy, cold Saturday, and a local nonprofit, which would change both of our lives in many ways, called Birth Detroit, was hosting a volunteer gathering because they wanted to figure out, how do we open Detroit's first Black-led birth center? We know the city needs it, but how do we do it? And so I joined the Develop group, which was about developing an abundance of resources for this project. And at this time, the organization had not raised much money, and it felt like, wow, this really big thing. And I also went to this group because I had just moved back to Michigan from California, and I wanted to meet new friends. And I remember seeing Eddie with her beautiful curls and big smile and hoping that I would see her again after talking with her and collaborating with her. So this is February 2020, and then the world shut down for the global pandemic in March 2020. But so while we weren't getting together in person, we did work together in the Develop work group. So maybe once or twice a month we would meet. And then I actually remember we had tea as friends, and it was quite sweet, just to talk about like, hey, I feel really connected with you professionally, but I would love to learn more about your story. So over time, I was hired by Birth Detroit to do some development work, and Eddie and I would often co-lead the Develop work group. And what I loved is that we have such different energies, but they really work well together, fire and air. So I am triple fire, which often makes me very dedicated, determined, action-oriented. And Eddie is triple air, so introspective, thoughtful, asking questions that make me slow down and think. So you can see it's this beautiful, it's just a beautiful pairing. And actually, I found notes recently when I was nesting of a retreat that we had hosted. Yes, so we go way back. We go way back. Um, so that's why I loved working with her. I knew that she brought this like realm of possibility to my life that in my forward movement, I didn't always stop to think. Um, so all of this was in play when years later, Eddie asked me to be her agent, and I jumped at the chance. Number one, it was quite thrilling for me to be called an agent. Over the last 5 to 10 years, I've really gained a lot of experience in finance and fundraising in ways I never would have felt confident to own or to embody 5 to 10 years ago. And so it was quite a thrill to be like, well, yeah, I'll be your agent and I can bring my natural skills and how we naturally work together to this collaboration. And I also want to mention that Eddie and I lived together for a couple of months in 2021, and they were very transformative months. So Eddie accompanied me on some spiritual journeys and processing, and really changed my life and opened how I think about things. So one example I have is she observed, friend, you move very, very fast. Like I've just noticed you move really, really fast in everything you do. What might happen if you slow down? And that was kind of like, wow, golly, I don't know. And that's something I still think about to this day. Now I'm about 8 months pregnant, and it really matters how I move. And even when I get in and out of my car, cautiously or carefully thinking about baby and body, I'm thinking of Eddie saying, hey, it's okay to slow down. So Eddie made a lasting impression on me and how I live my life. And I've also seen you dazzle a room. So when we lived together, we would go to events together. And I saw how taken my mom was with you and my sister-in-law and my friends, and how you opened this way of thinking for them that wasn't how they normally thought. And I thought, wow, I would love to be involved with a project, Tejiendo, a book that brings this way of thinking, but more so this way of being to the world. So let me stop right there, get a sip of water, and see.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for reflecting on our various ways in which we have been weaving relationship with profundity, right? It's from heart to heart, from spirit to spirit, we can collaborate with more authenticity, with more being more genuine and living together for a season. Actually, thank you for
Yes.
reflecting that back. I hadn't think about it, but um, it was a dance. It was a beautiful dance of. I felt that that was a moment that the heart of the sky and the heart of earth call us to be able to see each other in our humanity. You know,
Mhm.
like when I'm in those days, right, when I just need to be alone, or I'm moving slower than you, right? So can you be can we honor each other, like bridging,
Mhm.
but it was such an interdependence, you know,
Yes.
like we would be very like show our vulnerability as humans, but with this honoring that our each other's dignity. And
Mhm.
that was a beautiful, like I left that home as I was preparing my whole peregrinaje to do my offerings in Michigan before I returned to Nahuatl people land in, you know, what is now known as El Salvador, and different um, communities that I have been weaving within Mesoamerica. That was, I specifically, I remember our enjoying the leaves falling in
Mhm.
autumn, the
Mhm.
colors changing,
Yes.
and that mirroring that, you know, we were not ending a friendship,
Mm-mm.
but transforming the relationship, and how that could continue um, from far away. So yeah, that I it's thank you for reminding, or for bringing this thread to this dialogue. So
Yeah.
beautiful. It's so intimate in the sense that I got to meet your family, your tejidos.
Mhm.
Um, I got to meet your some of your friends, but also I got to see you do the work with so much care.
Mm.
I think that's how I experienced your feisty, fiery presence, uh,
Mm.
which is really useful for me to arrive. You know,
Mhm.
we want that balance, right? We don't want just being reflective and being thoughtful. We also want action. And a big piece of having this book, you know, in the form of a book,
Yeah.
of being having birth, the pages, the stories, the like curated version of it. Um, it's for me come from that mirroring that you show me with your fires, that it's it can be scary, right, to tell a story that is so complex, or to tell many stories that have so much complexity. um but you told me, but this is your forte, and not just in written form, right? Because I come from oral traditions, but how can we bring these oral stories into the pages so that they can also touch people that maybe I will never meet in person, right? And so that is that's the skill, the strength that I could sense and presence, like experience from you, from living with you, from being your friend, and then transforming our friendship also into a more creative, professional way. And so I'm just grateful that you said yes. I didn't know, what would be your kind of response. And also, I am really grateful the way that you have accompanied me, that you have listened to me, that you have listened to my rhythm, right? That my rhythm is slower than yours in the, in some ways, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be like, I'm not trying to become you in your rhythm, right? And I'm not asking you to become me in my rhythm, and that has been beautiful. This um, collaboration and giving form and saying like these are and me telling you these are the spaces where I wanna begin weaving and presenting and sharing, and you really honoring the the values, right, and principles from why these spaces are the spaces where I wanna share the baby, my baby. And so thank you so much for accepting and for reminding me that this is very sacred labor, um and to not be afraid to, that it can go the I would say, I do the metaphor of el vuelo of the, right, el vuelo de los pericos or el vuelo de los quetzales, like the flight of the parakeet or the flight of the quetzals. It's like each book will get whatever the heart that is waiting for it.
Yes.
Right. So what else has emerged for you in this collaborative journey, especially after, like I left, and the complexity of like the book being called to be published in Mexico first, right? And now the community that is supporting is all over the world.
Yeah, I would say that you showed me when we lived together and when we started working together the value of slowing down, which I think also makes it a little easier to adapt. So, for example, we would always brew a cup of tea and light a candle before we did our work, and I did that today. You showed me that how we show up matters. In some ways, more so than what the work is, or it really does affect the work. So, honestly, pivoting to a publisher in Mexico or knowing that that's the place you wanted to publish first was beautiful. And what a great way to honor it and to push back against some of the norms of US-based publishing, right? And I loved how we talked about it's a team of people who are sending you your book. So it's going to take some time, but it's sent with love. And I love how everyone, it seems, has really responded to that well, right? Like, yeah, okay, beautiful. And one image I carry of you and I think of with a smile often is back in maybe October or November 2021, you were out back dancing in the backyard, like you weren't in this kind of basic suburban backyard, but in like a forest or another world. And I was just like, wow, I want to be like that. Like, I want to have access to that creativity and confidence and abundance. And so when we work together, I do feel that. And I feel that you have taught me and showed me how to give grace and kindness and to support to other people I work with. So, for example, a young woman I work with now, we're really adaptive and flowing because that's how people do the best work and that's how they want to stay in relationship. and stay with important work. So I would say that, yeah, I think that answers the question.
Yeah, and you have mentioned it before earlier. And I appreciate, bringing it back because that's the, Tejiendo, our poetic rematriation with Mother Earth, is a book that has taught me already how, to decolonize my perspective about productivity, the idea, right? The domestication that we have been imposed of productivity. And I say this because we tend to think, with the left side of the brain, we tend to be like, do.
Right.
But in the doing, we forget the other threads that are sacred and joyful and juicy that are that can really support the listen what is emerging. And Tejiendo reminds me of that being slow, that slowness is sacred, and slowness that is not like stopping, right? It's the steadiness of beginning, and the discipline, the creative self-discipline to knowing that there is a goal, but also walking the unknown. So and I wouldn't have, I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here talking about this project, the finishing, the first finishing stage of it, if I hadn't had Karina, you, Mary, and then many, many others. So thank you so much for saying yes. Thank you so much for all the work that you already do that inspires me with Birth Detroit. And thank you for believing in this work. So I hope that, people who will come and watch or listen to this video, they will know who is behind, the feisty friend, collaborator, agent, Mary Demery, that who is supporting me in making sure that the books get whatever they need to get. Thank you so much, and thank you to your baby too, because it has been in this last stage accompanying us. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and I just want to close with my my closing wish or prayer for Tejiendo. So my wish is that more and more people will come to this work through watching conversations like ours, or seeing your work elsewhere, maybe hearing one of your beautiful cantos or reading one of your poems, and that it will reach people organically who need it, and it will really touch and inspire them, as you have touched and inspired so many people, including me in my life.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much.